The Andes, implacable, eternal. For centuries, they have stood silent sentinel over secrets whispered on the wind, secrets of empires built and shattered, secrets of a hunger that drove men to the edge of madness. November 16th, 1532, Cajamarca. Here, in the shadow of the mountains, the Inca Empire, a civilization that had touched the sky, met its brutal end. A handful of Spanish conquistadors, led by the iron fist of Francisco Pizarro, brought an entire people to their knees. 5,000 Inca warriors, unarmed and defenseless, Atahualpa, the god king, captured. The sun had set on the Inca world. But for Pizarro, the conquest was only the beginning. His eyes were fixed on a prize far greater than empire: gold, the legendary riches of the Inca, a treasure that would make kings weep with envy. They plundered temples, melted down sacred artifacts, stripped bare the very soul of a civilization. Mountains of gold, enough to fill the holds of 1,000 ships, flowed back to Spain. But even as they gorged themselves on Inca treasure, a new whisper began to circulate, a fever dream that gripped their hearts. A tale of a city forged not of stone, but of pure gold. A place where the very ruler was bathed in golden dust. A king they called El Dorado, the Golden One. This was no mere legend. They had seen the proof. The Muisca, masters of gold, and a sacred lake high in the Andes, Guatavita. Here they witnessed a ritual beyond imagining. A new chief, naked, coated in gold from head to toe, offering treasures to the depths. Before plunging into the icy water, a living god reborn. This is the story of El Dorado, the most famous treasure that never was.
The Andes Mountains, jagged and imposing, stand as silent witnesses to a pivotal moment in history, November 16th, 1532. On this fateful day, the seemingly invincible Inca Empire, a civilization that had flourished for centuries, crumbled before the might of a small band of Spanish conquistadors. Led by Francisco Pizarro, a man driven by an insatiable hunger for wealth and glory, the Spanish captured Atahualpa, the last Sapa Inca, the emperor believed by his people to be a living god. The ensuing massacre of 5,000 unarmed Incan warriors in Cajamarca was a chilling display of European military superiority and a brutal prelude to the systematic dismantling of an empire. Pizarro, however, was not merely a conqueror, he was a plunderer, his eyes fixated on the legendary riches of the Inca. Gold, in quantities that staggered the European imagination, adorned the temples and palaces of the Inca. As Pedro Cieza de León, a soldier and chronicler of the conquest, wrote in his Crónicas del Perú, "In one of these palaces, there was a garden in which the earth was lumps of fine gold, and it was cunningly planted with stalks of corn that were of gold, stalk, leaves, and ears." This vivid description highlights the sheer abundance of gold that fueled the Spanish frenzy. The systematic looting of the Inca Empire began. Temples were stripped bare, golden artifacts melted down into ingots, and the wealth of a civilization was shipped across the ocean to fill the coffers of the Spanish crown. But even as the Inca gold flowed into Europe, whispers of another, even greater source of riches began to circulate among the conquistadors. These were tales of a city, a kingdom, where gold was not merely a symbol of wealth, but the very fabric of existence. A place where the streets were paved with gold, the buildings constructed from it, and the ruler himself was covered in it. This was the legend of El Dorado, the Golden One. Driven by this intoxicating legend, the conquistadors ventured beyond the conquered Inca territories, pushing deeper into the uncharted heart of South America. They braved treacherous jungles teeming with unknown dangers, navigated the labyrinthine waterways of the Amazon, and scaled the dizzying heights of the Andes, their eyes constantly searching for any sign of the fabled Golden City. They were not merely explorers, they were treasure hunters, fueled by a potent cocktail of greed, ambition, and a near-religious belief in the existence of El Dorado. This belief was further reinforced when they encountered the Muisca, an indigenous civilization that thrived in the highlands of present-day Colombia. The Muisca, unlike the Inca, did not build vast empires or monumental cities. Their power resided not in territorial conquest, but in their mastery of gold work and their complex spiritual beliefs. Spanish chroniclers like Juan de Castellanos were astounded by the Muisca's skill with gold. In his epic poem Elegías de Varones Ilustres de Indias, Castellanos describes their artistry. They are great artificers of gold, and whatever they make is very perfect. They cast it, they make hollow figures, they solder it with great skill, and they make of it whatever they will and whatever is desired of them. The Muisca created intricate gold objects, tunjos, votive figures, jewelry, masks, and elaborate pectorals, often depicting animals, deities, and scenes from their mythology. But it was the Muisca's unique ritual at Lake Guatavita that truly cemented the connection between them and the legend of El Dorado. This sacred lake, nestled high in the Andes, was the stage for a ceremony of profound spiritual significance. Gonzalo Fernández de Oviedo y Valdés, in his Historia General y Natural de las Indias, provides a detailed, though perhaps embellished, account. The Indians say that in that lake is a great sum of gold and riches, and that the gold that the cacique, chief, offers is very much. He goes naked, covered only with a paste of fragrant resins, and over this the gold dust is applied from head to foot, as thick as salt is sprinkled on food, and thus arrayed he goes to make his sacrifice. The Spanish, upon hearing these accounts, were captivated. Here, they believed, was the origin of the El Dorado legend. The Golden Man was not a mythical king, but the Muisca leader participating in the Lake Guatavita ceremony. The lake itself, they reasoned, must be a vast repository of gold, accumulated over centuries of ritual offerings. As Juan Rodríguez Fraile, a later chronicler born in Bogotá, wrote in his work El Carnero, this is the ceremony that became the famous El Dorado, which has cost so many lives and fortunes. The conquistadors' logic, though flawed, was understandable. They saw a civilization that used gold in abundance, a ritual that involved casting gold into a lake, and a legend of a golden city. In their minds, these elements coalesced into a single, compelling narrative. El Dorado was not a myth, but a hidden Muisca capital. The ensuing search for El Dorado became one of the most epic and ultimately tragic chapters in the history of the Spanish conquest. Expeditions, often led by ruthless and ambitious men, ventured into the unknown, driven by the tantalizing prospect of unimaginable riches. They found gold, yes, but never in the quantities they envisioned. They encountered indigenous resistance, succumbed to disease, and often turned on each other in their desperation. The legend of El Dorado, however, persisted. It evolved and adapted, taking on new forms and meanings. It became a metaphor for the insatiable human desire for wealth and the destructive power of greed. It also became a symbol of the unknown, the unexplored, and the enduring allure of the mythical. Even today, the name El Dorado evokes a sense of mystery and wonder, a reminder of a time when the world was still full of uncharted territories and the possibility of discovering something truly extraordinary. If you liked this adventure, you are going to love what's next. We're going deep into the lost labyrinth of Egypt, rediscovered at the Hawara Pyramid Complex. Herodotus claimed it was more impressive than the pyramids, and we're going to find out why. We'll explore Flinders Petrie's findings, the Mataha Project's radar scans, and the ancient texts of Herodotus, Strabo, and Pliny the Elder. Was it a temple, a tomb, or something else entirely? What secrets does the megalithic construction and the quartzite sarcophagus hold? And could it be older than the pharaohs? Find out in our next video.
Imagine a structure so grand, so impossibly complex, that it was deemed one of the wonders of the ancient world, a place whispered about in hushed tones, a place of myth and legend, even in its own time. The historian Herodotus, a man who had witnessed the majestic pyramids of Giza in their full glory, a man who had traversed the known world, even he was humbled. He wrote that this edifice exceeded in splendor even the mighty pyramids. He called it the labyrinth, a sprawling colossal maze of stone and shadow, said to contain thousands of chambers both above and below ground, a place where the unwary could wander for eternity, lost in its endless corridors. For centuries, it stood as a testament to the power and ingenuity of a forgotten age, a place of ritual, of worship perhaps, of secrets best left undisturbed. This was the labyrinth of Egypt, and its true purpose remains one of history's greatest mysteries.